Hello, and welcome to this guide which will take you through the changes to the ABRSM Grade 5 Theory Examination which come into practice in January 2018. If you would like an overview of all the changes which are taking place across grades 1 to 5, then please see my earlier video which is linked in the top right hand corner now. So let's start to have a look at some of these changes. Overall, the exam still covers 7 pages, will take 2 hours to complete and requires 66 marks out of 100 to pass. It's also worth mentioning that a much friendlier typesetting has been used in the wording of the questions across the paper. I think many students will find this much easier to read. As you can see from these pages, many of the questions are remaining the same, such as those questions concerning time signatures, chords, ornaments, clefs, transposition and scales. Whilst I personally see no issues with this, I do feel that the extract question, which has also failed to have undergone any changes, could have been made more straightforward. As you can see here, this question requires a number of markings to be made for each answer, including a circle, bar number and capital letter. If any of these are missing, then the mark is not awarded, which I feel is a little harsh. It's worth mentioning at this point that it appears as though there will now be 2 extract questions per paper. This is to allow for the fact that the melody writing and SATB questions are no longer part of the paper. I'm pleased to see that in the sample paper under review here, questions do not require circling or marking on the extract, and are in line with those questions used in previous years. Let's now move on to the questions which have changed, first of all looking at intervals. These, I feel, have been made much friendlier. Each interval now has its own separate stave, which means there is less chance of a candidate missing a key signature. I suppose it could be argued that this makes the intervals less authentic. However, I feel at grade 5 level this is acceptable. Another change that has been made is that interval questions concerning the writing of intervals have been introduced. This, of course, I feel is harder, but is covered in the music theory and practice textbooks which many students use, and so students should be equipped to tackle these kind of questions. Now let's move on to the section which I feel is the most controversial of all the changes. That is the use of multiple choice questions for terms and signs. As you can see, these are laid out nice and simply and will refer to the extract question mentioned earlier. Each of these questions will be worth 2 marks each, and it seems as though there will be 2 or 3 questions across each paper. ABRSM states there will be no way for candidates to guess these answers. People may disagree with this. I feel though that this is a welcome change. Candidates find learning a list of terms and signs very difficult, and I think any help with this question is much deserved. If you are looking for help in preparing for this section of the examination, ABRSM have launched a new tool on their website for practicing these questions in exam format. Let's move on to the final section which has undergone a change. This involves the cadence question. This sees a much more simplified layout and asks the candidates to only use Roman numerals for their answers. This, I feel, is a much needed change, but I can't help but wonder why candidates are not asked to name the cadences. Overall, I feel that the examination is slightly easier to approach and still covers a good level of knowledge. However, the gap between grades 5 and 6 does appear wider than before. I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you have any comments or questions, then please feel free to comment below. Also, if you are looking for help with your own theory work, then I have theory help sheets and can offer one-to-one online tuition. Please visit my website at www.clareholditch.co.uk for more information. And of course, don't forget to subscribe right here to my YouTube channel for notification of any new theory videos in the future.